Welcome back to the Weekend Show. Election tribunals in Nigeria are the direct creation of Section 285 of the nation's constitution, which provides the establishment of the National Assembly, Governorship, State House of Assembly tribunals. The tribunal have originally jurisdiction to hear and determine petitions as to whether a person has been validly elected into non-appointive offices. On today's program, we'll be talking about the faith of the Nigerian people in our tribunals. Joining us to discuss this is...
We have with us a former governorship candidate of the Sustainable National Party in Enugu State, Chibueze, Onah. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
We also have with us a regular guest, political analyst and activist, Usman Okai. Welcome to the Weekend Show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Nigeria.
Welcome, gentlemen. As we can see, the election tribunals have become the deciding factor, the main deciding factor for most people looking to emerge victorious in public office. We've seen that most governors, most senators, House of Rep members, State House of Assembly members, end up depending on these tribunals to announce them victorious. And even those who win through the regular polls, excuse me, by INEC, always still keep some budget aside, unfortunately, to ensure that they retain their seats. So how healthy is this for a fragile democracy? I'll start with you, Austin.
Yeah, just because election tribunal is a kind of a last hope for a defeated candidate who think that you are either robbed or technicality, the man who is declared the winner is not supposed to be. And in National Assembly, if it is a pre-election, a pre-primary elections, the Senate, it goes to the Supreme Court, and or if it's a post-primary election, it's stopped at the appeal court. So it's part and parcel of election as far as Nigeria is concerned.
But don't you believe we've grown and over-dependent on the tribunal now? Everybody's going to court. Yeah. Like, I believe there were how many cases the last time? I don't want to mess the figure up.
We did have quite
thousands,
a lot. And we
yes.
still have a lot in court right now. Even interestingly, because you say this is the final hope, see what's happening in Osun State right now, where the tribunal has passed their judgment saying a certain candidate won, but it's gone to appeal and they've lost, which means they now have to go to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Now, within this process, it means what happens is we may have someone who is not fit to rule, be in position for close to a year or more, depending on when you have a Supreme Court decision. How does this now affect the electoral system and process? And I'll hear from you, Chibueze.
Yes, I would say that the increased number of cases in the tribunal is a manifest of the gap or the lapses in our electoral process. Because if you look at the Electoral Amendment Act that was not assented to the last time by the President, you would see that most of the issues being contested at the tribunals are the issues that the Electoral Act is meant to checkmate, is meant to solve. But I think now we have over 700 cases already at the appeal court, and it's still, I think it's good because it's an avenue for people who think they are shortchanged in the electoral process to regain their mandate. But the other way around, I would rather prefer that we fix our electoral process. Because when it comes to, if we come to the tribunals, what we find is we also need to institute stiffer penalties for lawyers who bribe judges who collect bribes. Because at the end of the day, you find out that people do all sorts of things at the tribunal in order to get judgment or in order to retain the judgment or the results already declared. So I would rather prefer that we rework or adopt the new Electoral Act so that we stop all these. Because not only that at the tribunal that justice obviously is done, but we need to also see that justice. We need to see the justice in the whole process.
Transparency.
Exactly, in the whole process. So it's not just because otherwise, if we remove appeal, for example, election petition tribunals, what you will find is people, it will be a do or die affair at the election ground, because people will then know if that is the last decider of election, then I will do anything possible to win that election.
Very, very valid point you raise, and I would like to touch more on that. But I would, at this point, like to open up our phone lines to our viewers. Please, when you're calling in, talk about the issues directly, no other thing. The number to call is 080-333-4770. That's 080-3333-4770. So, Chibueze, you've talked about, the do or die affair, of the election tribunals. But my issue with this tribunals is the fact that a lot of people believe, okay, if I don't win it, on the battleground, which is, the elections conducted by INEC, I would just figure out a way to win it at the tribunals. I feel there's sort of an over-reliance now on the courts to, to sway, the victory in their favor. So is it possible to ensure that most of their energy, we can start to encourage or galvanize that most of the energy is now focused back on the battleground, back on the fields where INEC is conducting the elections, to reduce, number one, the cost, and to also reduce, the instability, as Andy said, in the governing system. Austin?
Yeah, because of the mode of our election electoral system, you can't. It's left for us. Let us accept the reality that tribunal is part of our election. That will help us. Because it's becoming impossible to defeat an incumbent government, either a governor or a president. You are an eyewitness. All Nigerians can testify to what happened in Osun State. Therefore, the judiciary, which is expected to be neutral, the last hope of a common man, should assess what happened based on the two, your own lawyer, my own lawyer, and come up with a verdict that will stand by the masses. So you can't. There's no way you can stop it.
So you believe
unless
this is
there
good
should be
for
transparent, unless there's a system that will ensure free and fair electoral system. Except that there's nothing. What can you do?
So you believe this is good for our democracy? We have a caller. Your name and where are you calling from, please? Hello. Okay, we might have lost that caller. Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Chidi. I'm coming from Abuja.
Chidi?
Yes.
Okay. What's your opinion on the issue we're discussing?
Come.
We can't hear you too well.
Hear me?
Okay, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, you have to call back. We can't hear you too well. Sorry, Austin, you were saying.
Yeah, that the reality is that there must be a strong system that will guarantee free and fair electoral procedure, where people who cast their vote, the result should represent the interests of the masses. But where you have a voting here, the polling here, you are leading, and at the end somebody come from nowhere, destroy the. I think some of these politicians will go into electoral system, put in mechanism that will guarantee or that will get us an evidence that we can tether at either the tribunal or the appeal or the Supreme Court. So you can't say the tribunal, the cost of electoral tribunal will be too high. It's left for us to mainstream or to inculcate the cost of electoral tribunal as part and parcel of our election expenses. That will help us. Very, very important.
Okay. We have a caller. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello.
Yes. Can you turn down your TV set and tell us your name?
Hello.
We can hear you. Your name and where you're calling from.
Samuel calling from Pangu.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to contribute to what we discussed. It's a good development, a very good one, and in as much I'm not supporting Atiku or Buhari, but I want the right judgment to meet out. We all know that both of them do rig elections, but Nigerians want to see good judgment. We want to change. We want the future of our country. We are looking for brighter future. We want good things to start up in Nigeria. We want good judgment. We don't want all these old people. They are parents of the same feather. If Buhari's daughter or Atiku daughter is getting married tomorrow, you will see Buhari children there, and Buhari will go there. And both of them are friends. They are parents. So we want good judgment. This judgment must be delivered, and it must be transparent. It must be fair. There must be justice. The Nigerians want to know what they have been doing, and so that they can stop it permanently. That's what we are asking for good judgment, and it shall be so in Jesus' name. There's nothing they can do about it. This one cannot be hidden. The Nigerians will know the truth, and this is the right time. It's high time. The truth is known.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts passionately. Good judgment, good justice, fairness, and equity. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Pastor Joseph. I'm calling from Ogun State.
Hi, Pastor Joseph. Good morning. What's your contribution?
Yeah, good morning. Just like one of my friends there said concerning Osun State, we all know what happened during the election of Osun, and we all know the winner. The same thing goes to Kanu, and even Ekiti and Edo State. But the judgment system, the electoral system of this country is already mortgaged. What the present government is doing is to give bad governance with hope that they will do anything with the electoral umpire to make sure they retain their posts, and nothing will happen. Now they are intimidating judges. We've seen how they disgrace the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice of Nigeria. They disgraced him out of the office to make sure they install their own people who will do their bidding.
Well, thank you for sharing your opinion, Pastor. I would like to note that the opinions of the callers are strictly theirs and have nothing to do with us at the Weekend Show or our channel, Africa Independent Television. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Ibrahim Abdugani. I'm calling from Abuja.
All right, what's your contribution?
Yeah, I want to align with the man Austin Okai because he has said nothing but the truth. The electoral system of this country is bastardized. You understand? When it is obvious in a particular state that this person is winning or has won the election, but because of the federal might or the power that is resting in Abuja, the tribunal will not stand on their feet. The party in power will use position and their power to change the whole thing and give it to somebody that everybody knows that he lost woefully. So if they can allow a free and fair election in this country, I think it will be better for all of us.
Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you so much. So we've heard from the callers now how they feel. So we've been able to identify what the issue is. From the few people who have called in, they've lost hope for our judiciary. They've lost hope that they can actually receive justice for any ill done or whatever happened during the field. So how do we change that? Because we're a show that we like to focus on the solutions. So how do we change that? How do we ensure that we can build back the support of the Nigerian people when it comes to these election tribunals?
Yes. I would say that primarily we needed to go back to my earlier point, which is the Electoral Act, because we have found out that the onus of proof in these elections is so enormous and has made it almost impossible to prove that you are the rightful winner or not. So we needed to rework our electoral process and make it simpler and make it more engaging for contestants and even lawyers, so that they should be able to prove their case. Because that's why you find out that if they go to case and they keep and once the case is in court, the incumbent does nothing apart from going to court and ensuring he wins. And at the end of the day, most likely if he wins, then that is when government starts. And it takes a couple of months, if not years, sometimes to get judgment. So what you find is you find that wasted time. And mind you, there is money spent, taxpayers' money are wasted on that process. So I think if we go back to the Electoral Act and the last one sent to the president, I think that one is more robust. And if we use that for now, maybe in future we may need to still tweak it, because in the last elections we saw that most of the things we find, unlike if in the last election, if you find a certain party said they were accused of hacking into the website of INEC and all that.
That was found out not to be true.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. That was found
Okay.
out. But even if that has no place, you can't use that alone to justify whatever in the because it is not captured in our Electoral Act.
But Chibueze, speaking about tribunal, because we're in court right now, and the justices are human beings. They are people like you and I, and they deserve to get to the positions where they are because they've put in work over time. And Austin, this is to you. Don't you think that we are now focusing a lot on the people based on their names or their affiliations as opposed to the transparency of the process? And I would say this, there's been a lot of talk about Justice Zainab Bukachua saying her husband is a senator-elect. But we've had the likes of Justice Mary Odili, Justice Gbadebo Rhodes, whose son contested elections. And so we have the Electoral Act, we have the Constitution. And so don't you think that we're focusing too much on the people, because there's been a lot of talk about the people as opposed to the processes and the transparency of the appeals and the petitions in the election?
Yeah, you made mention of Justice Rhoda Vivo and Odili. And I don't think that any time those people you mentioned preside any election tribunal, why their husband or their son is directly an interested party.
But in this case, for instance, she's not related to the president.
It's not, but her husband.
But
Senator-elect, Senator Mohammed Adamu Bukasua, who just won from Bauchi State, is a strong member of APC.
But she's not presiding over his case.
No, but can you separate a man from his wife?
That's why they're justices.
In Nigeria?
In the world.
Are you saying that a man do no longer have influence over her husband? I'm not against her lordship. But look at her utterances with due respect to her at the inaugural stage, where she said there is no way how fair election is conducted. There must be a complaint.
But talking about her utterances, sorry, just to get it clear, I know there have been informal comments about this. And so this was mentioned in court. She is the one who told the lawyer, submit a formal petition. And so we've heard a lot of this noise. Why didn't the aggrieved parties submit the petition even before coming to court?
I think the candidate of PDP has done that. And we are even talking of morality here. Already, whatever come out, PDP, one of the party that was that has one of the leading in the last election, has said that they cannot get justice from her. So it's left for her. There's nothing like you.
But she's not the only person sitting.
But she is the president. She inaugurated the panel.
So
for the
yes, I would say that you see, in the judicial process, as the hope of the common man, I would say we should not only we should not only see justice done, but not only that justice should be done, but we must see justice being done. So it doesn't really, when you look at it, yes, she is the president of the appeal court. It is it's her duty to elect members of that panel. But the thing is, she should rescue herself from the case, because the reason is Nigerians would want to see a result that will be widely accepted. If you use the case of Mary Odili, you would see she had a wonderful opportunity to set that precedence. She didn't.
Exactly. So
this is another second chance.
We have a caller. I want to hear his or her opinion on this. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Your name is, sorry?
Maxine. I'm calling from Buhari.
Okay. Hi, Maxine. What's your contribution to this?
My contribution today is that one of the major things we need to observe is that our laws are not the major problem we need to know. Because the attitude of the politicians are very, very bad. I myself have been one of those that they use as a talk in Delta State, and I've understood very, very clearly that politicians are wicked, they are desperate, they don't have interest of the youth at heart. Like today, you see where the youth today, they have nothing to learn from the elders. There's nothing we can now say, because I'm a youth, can say that this is what we learn from the elders. What the only thing we learn is impunity, corruption, thuggery, all sorts of evil.
So what's
now,
the solution?
Even if we change the laws today, you will see that the politicians will still come back and make it as if the law is not okay. They will still make sure to kill and to destroy the institution that is in charge of that particular law.
Okay, so we would like to focus on solutions, please. Callers,
Hello?
your name, yes, your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Mr. Chidi from Abuja.
Okay, hi, Mr. Chidi from Abuja. What's your contribution?
Thank you. Election has come and go. So, and you can see what happened the last election. Because of the electoral act have not been signed by the president. So, what I'm about to say now is that let the judiciary appeal to their conscience and do the necessary thing. Because right now, all hope of common man lie on them. So let that be a good justice in Nigeria judiciary. Because what's going on now, the truth and turn it upside down. It's not good for common masses. So I plead for their conscience to do the necessary thing. So that is what I want to contribute.
Thank you so much for your contribution and solution to the issues we're discussing. Auntie, I'll let you have this.
So we've spoken about strengthening the process. Now there's also the issue of the timeline which it takes. And so do you feel, as part of the electoral amendment, we should look at the whole cycle before even inaugurating people into office? So you have give or take 2 months. We saw the speed with which the CGN's case was tried, which means it's possible for some of these things to be done. Do you feel creating a better timeline for that process would prevent these problems where we have different election cycles and the fact that it dwells in court so long that evidence may be lost? Do you feel that timeline could fix the problem?
I don't think, because you may have a good case and lost on a technical ground. You heard what happened in appeal court, where Adeleke was set back because of the poor foundation in which the tribunal was constituted. So it takes a lot to gather an acceptable evidence. And before you can approach a court, you must lay your hands on so many empirical evidence before you and your lawyer can sit down. I think the timeline, but there was a time, there was a speculation or an attempt to ensure that all the election cases are sorted out before somebody can take over or take an oath of office. Here we have a case, someone is approaching the tribunal now to even stop the swearing in of the president-elect, His Excellency President Mohamed Buhari. I don't know how that's going to be. So the timing matters, and it's part of strengthening our democracy by ensuring the president, His Excellency, who is the father of the nation, affects his signature to this present electoral amendment act, which every Nigerian is saying it has this whole solution to our electoral problem. So we are calling on him. If he succeeds in this, the case is stood against him by the PDP candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, he should take advantage of that to ensure he signs the electoral amendment act so that Nigeria democracy can move on. We are going backward daily. We are not progressing. You see what happened in the last election, complaining everywhere. And at the same time, I have a strong word for Nigerians. We have too much, we have mortgaged the entire system. Nigerians should learn to hold the government accountable. In a situation where somebody is spending over 3, just as my sister said, Osasu said, you spend over 2-3 billion naira from court, from election, down to tribunal, and you win. The first thing you do is to recoup your money. I don't know you get it now. We should be ready to hold our government responsible by ensuring the right thing is done. Vote, defend your vote. There is no amount, no matter how armed the thugs are, the movement of the people cannot be stopped. I don't know you get it now. The hypocrisy of Nigerians is giving the opportunity, a fertile ground for politicians to perpetrate their evil. We should stand up and ensure the right thing is done.
I derive hope from this conversation today because I'm hearing solutions, and when there's a solution to an issue, that means there's hope for the issue to be solved.
Yeah.
From what I've heard from the both of you today is that in order to solve this issue, in order to make our electoral system more transparent and accountable to Nigerians, the president must assent to this electoral amendment bill at some point, number one. And number two, we as Nigerians must galvanize ourselves to hold the government to account in all that it does. And in cases where, someone who sits on this tribunals finds themselves related to a certain political party, to a member of a certain political party, they should recuse themselves.
Yes.
But as Andy said, this case wasn't made when the PDP was in power, and several justices who had affiliations with the People's Democratic Party were ruling over certain cases. But finally, I'll give you the last word, Chibueze. What is... moving forward to 2023, what do you believe would be a holistic situation, aside with what we've talked about today? What would be a holistic situation to these issues of perpetual cases going to the tribunal after the election has been done and conducted?
Yes, I would say summarily that first of all, we need to, like we were saying before we came up on here, that followership in Nigeria is a very big problem. And when you talk about followership, you talk about pre-election or during election matters, because when you say someone collected money, there was thugs, disruption of the election, these are not done by spirits. These are done by individuals,
Yes.
And these are Nigerians. So if they have a change of idea, if they have a change of attitude towards the election, it would, even if as a politician, if you go telling Mr. A, come and help me do this and this, and the person says, no, I will not do this, this is not, then you can't do it. But the problem is because ultimately there is high rate of unemployment, there is hunger in the land. So what politicians do is they key into that and they cash in these kind of attitudes from it. So what you find is that people would always collect money and sell their votes and they do all sorts of things. So what I would expect is, first of all, to say Electoral Act, Mr. President, assenting to it with the new, and to assent to it not closer to the next election, 2023. It is close enough for us, for Nigerians, to interrogate and engage with the process. And we need to learn, because if you find out during the elections, we didn't get enough voter education, we didn't even know what to expect. That's why when you go to the villages, you find people ask someone who is contesting, and who are you voting? And if you're voting for Mr. A, okay, that means I'll vote for Mr. A as well. So people don't actually know what it means, that vote, because originally people, like I always say, that people believed that votes don't count because it doesn't matter what you do. But in this last election, I would say that people actually believed their votes will count. They actually came out to vote. But unfortunately, the result wasn't what was expected. So you can feel it from the mood. So what we were saying and what we should expect is that our votes should begin to count. People should stand up and vote for who they wanted based on track record, based on the manifesto, based on their blueprints, because we don't know how to engage politicians to ask them, how do you intend to do this? We see all these big promises because a certain political party at some point set an agenda for themselves, and up to now, Nigerians have not really called them to say, this agenda, not set by us, even by you, how much have you fulfilled those agendas? So we should learn how to engage with these politicians, how to engage with the new law. And if the president, we need to see Mr. President assent to this law early enough, and we need the independence of the tribunal in this whole thing, because if you don't find independence in the tribunal, then you still find the issue of people thinking that because the wife or the husband is a member of the tribunal, it means that he's not good. Justice is not. I can't get justice off the process. But if we have an objective process, it doesn't matter who is there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your final words.
Yeah, I think not that just as we are saying, based on the election tribunal, is very, very important. Not that we do not have faith in her lordship, Justice Bukashua, but because of already the perception matter most. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. She's a good lawyer. She can deliver justice, but since the PDP is making a very serious complaint, I think it's fair for her to excuse herself. Very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Austin and Chibueze, for your time. We'll take a short break right now. When we return, more on The Weekend Show. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Weekend Show NG on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and visit our website, weekendshowng.com. Stick with us on The Weekend Show.